Chris here again. I was actually thinking of a name for the cafe shop owner, cafe owner. In the introduction, I had written a piece in about northward of the city and the last place that would be experienced by departing wagons. It's here somewhere. Here it is. Okay. So the furthest building northward in town is quietness with expectation of tranquility and learning. Cozy cafe, photography studio, library, and florist boutique is the last areas departing wagons will experience. So I went further into Mr. Stanley, the librarian and instructor, Lily and Violet, clothing artists respectively. Or actually, no, it should be horticulture, Victorian-style boutique of floral arrangements, and fine women apparel. So there, Lily, an expert in horticulture, and Violet, a clothing artist, have created a Victorian-style boutique of floral arrangements and fine women apparel. They were invited to Golden Lake Valley by Mr. Stanley. So here, somewhere, it was, do I do this respectively, which is a cozy cafe. So the next would not actually be Lily. It would be someone like the character that I was thinking. So here, instead of this going straight into Lily, an expert in horticulture, and Violet, a clothing artist, we go into someone like Annette, TTE. Annette, I did the research on that one, which was English and French. Annette was English and French for Anna or something like that. And I found that that name was more common in almost any European place.
Oh, yeah.
Than most other names. So it was Annette or Anna. So Annette's cafe owner.
49, 54, 200, 208, 210, 215, and 220.
Cafe owner, and then admission. So more on Annette, and then there's Lily and Violet's Victorian-style boutique of floral arrangements. Also play with the idea of Tread. Why would her name be Tread? Like, you know, cozy cafe Tread. They call me Tread. You know, it could be neat, right? So this one's sort of it's a toss around, but consider Tread as a cafe owner. Tread as the name of the cafe owner. And then further into Lily, etc., etc. So I ran into a problem there, which was a missing character. So you have the Cozy Cafe, who is either Annette or Tread, a photography studio, who is Mr. Preston, library, who is Mr. Stanley, florist boutique, which is Lily, florist boutique. So Cozy Cafe, florist boutique, and clothing, florist and clothing boutique. Is the last area departing wagons will experience. So I thought that kind of neat. I wanted to add that character, and the first one was JD, which I thought would be funny. Jane Doe. JD, Jane Doe, etc. One that isn't often thought of. There's only one scene in the entire story that takes place at the Cozy Cafe. So anyway, that's JD, Jane Doe, Annette, or Tread. I thought maybe that's how Frisk meets Tread there.
Lemon. Transfer point for route scroll 110, 12, 14,
and there's a little sort of
22, 29, 49, 54,
relationals,
200, 204, 208, 210, and 215.
It's going to be all like, you know. Anyway, so there's the remainder community is librarian and instructor. With him came Mr. Preston, a flamboyant photographer who owns a quaint photography studio. When his studio is closed, he can be found anywhere a flower is in bloom or the turning season is falling. Their works are sights to behold and are often sought, etc. And then it goes further into the story. So I think that was one piece of the introduction that I was missing, and that was one of the characters entirely. That'd be neat if it's Tread, you know? So you have Genesis Humble Hotel, which is kind of like an inn, but not as cozy. It's a little airy and stuff, but not completely. So you have that, and then the cafe. So maybe Frisk comes into town, and, you know, she she's sort of gathering information about the Climmings, etc., etc., and she's in trouble. But no, she doesn't gather information about the Climmings. That's one of the Western no-nos. One of the Western no-nos is you don't ask about anyone else unless you know someone else. And it's usually information for the purpose or location that is visited. Usually it's someone familiar. So anyway, and she's not a law guy, so I mean, it wouldn't be any type of new person coming into town and asking about them. Okay, so I do remember that one sort of Western rule. It was like Title 43 almost, but anyway. Okay, so yeah, Frontier used the road changes dramatically hand within the city of Golden Lake Valley. Entering the city, the road from south, Golden Lake Valley is introduced by merchant wagons and merchants shouting at anyone in a radius of 100 feet. Let's take a look at fruits, tools, kitchenware, and other objects. So anyway, I have that one, and then in the story there's a sort of connection, but it's more chronological and temporal for those two pieces of information. Braided Bear. The Braided Bear is a merchant in the city. She brings in random stuff that she's got from trading. Sometimes it's, fairly random. The remainder is, fruits, tools, kitchenware, etc. She brings in miscellaneous items mostly. So anyway, like kitchenware probably. What do I say? Fruits, tools maybe. She brings in tools. Can't do anything with this. Good, I need some new stuff. Gallons had left the bunkhouse empty, with a few old boots as an indication of their absence. Let's see. So with a few old boots thrown. Or no. It's like, what do you call that? The caddy corner been on. It's like a tossing randomly about the room. So you say a few old boots scattered as an indication of their absence. Mr. Climmings comes to a wide open door, right? To a door wide. Anyway, sunlight streaks beyond him. His words come with dread that, with the dread that could, I say would or could, that could overcome any good-minded and accomplished man with another task, describing pregnancy and reproduction to Katie, Robbie, and Cody. Wish known, first experience. Robbie, I can believe this. You would be good with the run. Those lessons sure did us both some teaching, I think. And once you girls ride over to Northern River Country for Duke, Clydesdale, etc.
University.
So after that, it's basically going to send them on a task. So there's a transition here that will take them from a lesson that's only told to a lesson that's experienced. And that's, I don't know, maybe, I say a good transition sentence that separates the first idea from the second. So anyway, further in the story, let's go over the other ones. Katie's knock is gentle and warm across the fields. She comes stomping in. Hey, we're gonna ride out on this evening for a new Clydesdale the Pod has been fussing about. And she's like, yeah, that's the arrangement. It's not like I have a say, she adds. Gathering her belongings, Cody turns the door to glimpse Mr. Climmings with a horse at each side, one happened to be Delilah. Yeehaw, Robbie shouts, tucking the last few bits of cloth into her pants. Katie's been, let's see, hardly, barely, rarely,
next stop,
has just as rarely made a go at lifting her side sack from the bonk. No, it has newly made. So newly's not a good word for that. Anyway, by that time, Katie's made a go at lifting her side sack from her bunk. Cody and Robbie in a flash mounted and stare consolingly toward Katie. Well, what do you expect? I'm riding with two most fragile hands of the lot, Cody entices. Well, what do you expect? I'm riding with two of the most fragile hands of the lot, Cody entices. Say not. She says no. I said nah, no. You just believe that's how things
next
are.
Stop,
Robbie nags.
Market.
Alright, don't give me no lip. No, don't give no lip. Mr. Clinton said Samson before you're gelding at the doorway. I says, hurry and get on out here, Katie. Hurry and get on out here, Katie. Your outfit is waiting. get it outfit. It's a group as opposed to an actual clothing. Anyway, accomplished. Robbie and Cody race the gate as Katie takes a moment to get her bearings. Alignment. Set bearings.
14.
Senses.
Transfer point for routes 1, 13, 15, and 50.
Senses. Jeez, that's also a trait, I guess, of an experienced cowhand. She needs her senses aligned with the newness of Samson. She hasn't ridden Samson Delilah. I thought that was funny too. She doesn't often ride such a powerful mount, but not riding Samantha was important. No match for the Clydesdale, but a strong hold of the saddle horn. Making her way to the gates, Cody and Robbie are laughing from the road. Brady Bear tosses satchel over the withers of Katie's horse. This food sack your mother had ready. You ride safe. And Katie nods, etc. As the plains melt into red rocky dirt, Katie, Robbie, and Cody are making their way to a prairie near the wind-beaten shack of Old Man Clive. As expected, Old Man Clive had been lounging on his porch with Scar choking him and watching with a keen eye.
Next stop,
one that in all its wrinkle made of discerning connections to his lifelong commitment of observance. He questions. See, I should change that. Watching with a keen eye. One that in all its wrinkle, made of discerning connection to his lifelong commitment of observance. He questions. Anyway, who goes here? Who's he? Robbie questions. Kitty informs he's Old Man Clive. Yeah. What's he doing way out here? No, what's he doing way out here? So this is Robbie questions Katie, and then this one's a little bit ambiguous. Robbie continues. Puzzled, just puzzled, and confused. I just said it's just like a non-discerning glare. Continues in confused expression. It's facial expression. Cody interrupts. He's been out here since the beginning of time, or at least that's the story I've heard from the bunkhouse when I've asked.
Please keep children seated while the bus is in motion.
Katie sets the record straight. He didn't like the name of Golden Lake Valley, and I guess he was a little subordinated. When do you think he'll change his mind? When do you think he's going to change his mind? I don't think he will, Robbie. He's set in his ways, and no one has questioned him about it, Katie adds. Anyway, he has much place here as anyone. Cody interrupts. He's made a name for this place, and with rifle sets a man straight. So would you say that? So that's Cody. Dukes. This needs to be edited. So comma. This will be period. Okay, so he's much place higher as anyone. He's made a name for this place. And with that rifle, he sets a man straight. Cody insists. No, Cody. So what you say? Cody informs. It's kind of informative, more information, but anyway. Or a woman? Katie acknowledges, or a woman. Well then, I don't think I'll be starting anything going through here without ever having said hello. Katie says. Can't turn to top Delilah. Robbie waves a friendly hello. As soon as she does, Old Man Clive intervenes. You stay at arm's length. I ain't taking no kind to no fella. C-U-H-F fellow. But anyway, name's Robbie. We're riding through the river country, etc. He peers a moment, relaxing to a pleasant glance. Well, keep your distance from those bandits. Keep your distance from those bandits. You just about take you out of house and home. They'll just about take you out of house and home. I've experienced this. Yes, yes. Robbie comments. Anyway, have ya? Old Man Clive comes around with a wrinkled lip. Well then, we have a thing or two in common. Say, take this with ya. May do some good. Old Man Clive passes Robbie the grip of a Colt 45. That's my best piece. When you're on the way back, you can drop this by. When you're on your way back, you can drop this by. Say, was it Robbie? Yeah, it sure is, and thanks, Mr. Clive. This will surely be useful should they come looking. Now, you're right quickly. Here, and don't stop for any sightseeing either. Thanks again. I'll get her back to you just as soon as we ride through. You go on and hurry. Katie, dumbfounded, slaps her hands in closely, followed by Cody and Robbie to make their way through the bend by sunset. Sunset's the thing to be feared in the bend. Creatures of the night are fierce like the bends. So anyway, that was an additional piece of writing. Now I was also thinking about the cafe. In the notes following that, there's a piece of writing that I wanted to do on disagreement. So they're actually, maybe that's when Frisk comes into play, right? So there's the kids of Golden Lake Valley at the cafe, which is either Annette or, was it Annette? Jane, but Jane's the name of the collie, so I don't know. Annette, Jane, or what was the third option? Annette, Jane, or Tread. Could be Tread, right? But anyway, so I could do something like that, where they're actually having a disagreement. And the disagreement is done at the cafe when they, go visit the cafe. So, this. Cindy comes to Homestead, search for Cody. It's all about relationships at that point. Katie and Robbie, Cody and Cindy, go to visit cafe. But anyway, this is a quick noting. Everything is gonna go fine until Jack shows up with an interest in Katie, which ticks off Robbie. But doesn't only tick off Robbie. Jack has a problem with Robbie's, so Cody gets involved, who is there to court. But anyway, they scuffle over Jack. They get in a disagreement about Jack, who has a disagreement with Robbie. They're asked to leave. About that time, he goes with Cindy to meet her parents, and Robbie and Katie return to Homestead for the reaction. At that point, I think we need transition to write about Tread and Frisk, which is an older sort of piece of writing for older women. Tread and Frisk.
And Rosewood.
So now that you have the kids playing, then you have two very, very set in their ways women. They're not really learning anything. They've already been there and already know it, and it's just sort of repetitiously accepting. So I mean, just like a routine, I guess, kind of, but Frisk is new. So anyway, Tread and Frisk meeting. I think that would be kind of funny. Darn it. I can't get to the keep and eat. But anyway, something like that. Maybe a meeting between Tread and Frisk. There's braided bears on the same path near the fencing. She gives advice on the reaction of the Lemmings they may have to Robbie and Cody's behavior toward townspeople, who is Jack, okay? So they're trying to get him out of his big old mess, too. About that time, Mrs. Clemmings notices a wound to Robbie's cheek, and the instant she sees Mr. Clemmings asks the cause. Katie and Robbie explain, and Cody's in trouble for a while. Not only is Cody in trouble for a while, but there's some stuff that Robbie needs to know, etc. And it's basically a re-equiv and rework of their understanding of disagreements. Too, that's about the time that Katie's brought into that overall mess, and he explains to them that communication is more important than their disagreements, if that makes any sense. So disagreements will never come if there's always communication. Does that make any sense? Because there's a set way about them. But anyway, maybe one of them, I don't know, needs something else. He further explains that Katie's already given a very masculine role, but Robbie isn't going anywhere either. So maybe it has something to do with that, and I think it did. It was basically like a triangle.
Transfer point for old line group 10, 13, 14, 15,
Jack
and 20.
thinks...
Stop requested.
Jack thinks he's like the best fit for Katie, okay? He has a job, and he's going to be doing good, etc. Cody's already pretty much set in his place, and he's going to be with Cindy. Their parents have pretty much already worked that out, which is pretty much Callahan's guy and Cindy's parents, or the Garrisons. So anyway, they've already worked that out. So you have Jack, who has a thing for Katie, okay? Katie who has a thing for Robbie. Robbie has a thing for Katie. But Cody gets into a disagreement with Jack and Robbie about a relationship, maybe a relationship statement between him and Cindy, okay? That gets on Katie's nerves, gets on Robbie's nerves. Jack's already on their nerves, and it just goes like huge circular disagreement. Okay? It's just like a never ending, but it does come to an end because Mr. Clemmings eclipse. So there's behavioral sort of notes in that development. Development two types. One is human characteristic development, and the other is character development. Schemes like plot influences. If that makes any sense. Influential on plot lines. Characters are. But anyway, so when I get to that point, I'm gonna have to reread for plot development. And 2 is that the influencers are going along with the plot line. 1 is that they're coming of age. 2 is that they must resolve conflict and so have a future that they all sort of desire. 3 is they have a big conflict coming. Or they all set straight before the conflict arrives, sort of like thing. But anyway, so when that conflict comes, there's a disloyalty that Frisk forms to the guys she's around, and that's after curiosity of the happenings and joining their group, which is bandits. So I think that would. I think that would. She sees this overall argument and she realizes this is not something I really want to do. You know, Tread's in town. It's kind of neat. Does Tread leave town, though? I think Tread leaves town in the secondary sort of story, which is an addition beyond this story, and that's Frisk and Tread. So anyway, it's a differing tale. So, let's see. Beyond that is the drive. The band is sort of riling into an overall presence. Then there's the drive, which is they saddle up and begin to, herd, etc. They're out one night, and Chuck Wagon, Supply Wagon outfit catch up. Robbie and Katie are having a little cuddle section, talking. The bandits are gathered, beginning an attack. About that time, I think that's when Frisk, Shed Freaking, lead bandits wishes to kill Robbie in hatred for her father. This is when Frisk begins a betrayal act. I'm not sure what that betrayal act is yet. But it's not to wound them, it's more so to expose them, I think. I'm not completely sure. Roars through the pass trail, bandits nowhere to be seen, pass opens to another end. The plane starts slows to graze, Mr. Cleaning, wipes his forehead. About that time, there's a saddle grass sheets, sides to get to the expo type thing, festivities, driver off stuffs. So it's our first big family arrangement, and Mrs. Clemmings was left behind because she had a new son, and it would probably be messed up. But anyway, on my back says Mrs. Clemmings, and I thought Mr. Clemmings murdered, though. I don't know about that. I'm gonna check that one. Do I really need that? Do I really need this? Question mark. I don't think I need that. It's too conflicting. Yeah, that one came through loud and clear when y'all wanted to start. But anyway, they take on duties of the ranch, and there's, an entire sort of series of stuff they're already learned to do. A big change in Frisk, big change in Robbie. The remainder were fairly similar to who they had been. Mr. Clemming was kind of already knowledgeable about the law guys, which were sheriff and deputy. So anyway, I haven't got too much further into that, and typing with my fingers is faster than typing with the stylus, so it's mainly development notes right now. Anyway, he's a monster, says Cody. You're the best plow horse my dad owns, Katie boasts that he is. Anyway, it doesn't shift. There's different voice patterns for each. Cody's kind of faster spoken. Katie's a little bit more slow and articulate, and there's Robbie, overabundantly forceful of speech. So what would that be? Or overabundantly forceful of speech?
Next stop, Magnolia.
Conversation.
Arlington.
Let's search that. Let me see this stuff real quick. Forceful speech. I'm trying to remember words that could be used for forceful speech. Or forceful vocal pattern. Guttural. Wait, guttural's not good for speech. There's forceful speech. Thesaurus. He inhaled a deep breath for forceful speech, but Billy was ahead of himself, etc. Is it vigorous or powerful speech? Pressured. Politician's forceful speech is self-assured and energetic. It makes the audience stop and take notice. What? It's tension. Pressured speech. Tendency to speak rapidly and frenziedly, as if motivated by urgency, not apparently to the listener. No, not apparently to the listener. Speech produced is difficult to assume that special action and forceful speech. This would be massive.
Next stop, Magnolia and Madison.
Back speech therapy. There we go. What do they know about it? Come on. First sentence is $600 therapy. Left. Lick. Larry. Licorice. Lacaic.
Next stop, Magnolia and
Lamborghini.
Ramona High School.
Listless.
Stop requested.
Lampoon. Lucky. Lemonades. Anyway, none of those. Anyway, the L sounds. So I put some thoughts together and I wanted to share them with you. To teach the L sound, place the tongue tip on the alveolar ridge, right? No, I don't. That's on the back of the T. Lucky. Lampoon. Anyway, a child can say the L sound in
Jefferson.
L speech. It wasn't L speech. It
For
was
your
speech
safety,
therapy.
do not cross the street directly in front of the bus.
Oopsie. Okay, so speech therapy. It's also public speaking. I'm not comfortable with speaking in public. I'm like, no. It helps kids with language-related learning issues, such as speaking, listening, and writing. Find out if speech therapy is right for your child. Speech therapy used for SLPs assesses speech, language, cognitive communication, and oral feeding, swallowing skills to identify types of communication problems. Fluency, voice, receptivity, and excessive language disorders. Best way to treat them? Speaking. Being allowed to speak. Phonetics, linguistics, psychology, math, and general science. Typical class one would take. For a pathologist. Impairment. Fluency. Improve overall communication. It makes it possible for people with autism to improve their ability to form relationships and function in day-to-day life. Specific goals of speech therapy include helping the individual with autism articulate words well. What degree do you need for speech therapy? 0. Auditory, though, that one gets me every time. Auditory processing, fluency, stuttering, voice disorders, and training for use of alternative augmentative communication. Is that augmentative? You can change it. Does speech therapy help adults? I'm sure it does. My speech pathologist's in demand. Kind of like a new smoothie. How can I improve my speech clarity? Try tongue twisters. Terry cloth tongue twisting. Tongue twisters are a great way to improve your speech clarity, as mastering them
Next stop,
will allow you
Magnolia and
to learn how to keep your voice clear and speak with confidence.
requested.
Read aloud. Practice speaking with a cork in your mouth. Oh, wait up talk. Talk. I don't want to wait up talk. Speech delivery. Nervousness is normal. Practice and prepare. Know your audience. Your speech is about them, not you. Hello and welcome to Bus Riding 101. I am a passenger, therefore I am seeking passage. If I have fared my fair square, I will have no difficulties. Is that up talking? No.
Next
This is
stop,
impossible in this
Magnolia
state.
and Adams.
Shite Hill.
I got a ride to the Union Station. Only stayed over there for like an hour and ate some damn chicken enchiladas and I'm on my way back. I can't rush these trains and buses. I'm in that house every fucking day, 7 days a week. I can get, I was out in LA, see my probation officer. I can go stop by and see my sister and my mom.
That's something too.
Fucking questions like that shit. I'm tired of that shit.
Sensibilities. Pathologist in Riverside. Speech pathologist in Riverside. Up and moving pediatric therapy. Solo speech and language. Solo. Lucid speech and language clinic. 5 Oak speech therapy services. Word speech language pathology. Kelly D. Brown. Myla Burks. Grades. Eastbrook. Christina.
Next stop, Cal Baptist University. Transfer.
Ontario. My World Speech Therapy. Green Family Therapies. Okay, so I don't think we have any public speaking problems. No, the use of my upper throat. Palm Desert? Chroma. 30 minutes per day. And if you have L words, you have no problems. Lucky you. Girl.
Next stop, Magnolia and Monroe.
So, to continue overall, it was plot writing schemes. So, let's see, something like the homeless state of Riverside would be something like Jack. Okay? Jack. Monroe. Okay? We have no lake in the city of Riverside, which is crazy. We have a somewhat similar sort of gathering of water, which happens to be... What is that place called? I haven't been there in a while. I might go there tomorrow. What's it called? No. Oh my gosh. Lake. No, it's not lake. It's a gathering of water. Mounts. Which remind me very Victorian sort of fairs, you know? So anyway, they gather around the gathered water and sort of, fair the heck out of it, which was sell stuff. No serious danger was showing his face. A lot of restful nights, too good to be true, which I won't be doing it for amounts. Following a quick meal of cornbread, beans, and pork, they hunkered down along the dullness and call of loons, till lulling into the night to sleep. If you've never heard a loon, YouTube is available. So, let's see. Come morning, they slowly and drearily woke to mesmerizing and luminous golden sheen happened to be a lake. The wave cast in their widening eyes was like the purest and earliest form of inspiration. The surface of the lake twinkled like gold flecks. So anyway, further into the introduction and realized it's not as large as I want it to be. So there's a few more sort of generalizations that can be written into the piece. One is that I can further elaborate on almost any of the characters or locations, like Clive's Bend and Mr. Clive, Old Man Clive, the grumpy old man who left so long ago. But anyway, with a rifle in one hand and a cigar choking him from the other, he set his foot down and named his own little piece of property, which we don't do anymore. The stretch is often the attraction of bandits and connects Golden Lake Valley with river country. Bustling southern town. So anyway, a lot does change. This town, not so much yet. Then there's the Hillsmen, the Garrisons, the Tithes. Who else? Mr. Preston, Lily, Violet. Several characters. So I'm written those in. It's a little bit less chaotic. So anyway, I think it is. I'm gonna add Tread. I think I'm gonna add Tread to the character list and have her be the cafe owner, and that be where Frisk meets Tread. Where the location. Frisk meets Tread. I'm talking. Dumb talking. The public speaking, that's one. As expected, old man Clive had been lounging on his porch with a cigar choking him and watching with a keen eye. One that in all its wrinkle made of discerning connection to his lifelong commitment of observance, he questions. Who goes here? Yeah. Who's he? Robbie questions. He informs he's old man Clive. What's he doing way out here? Robbie continues a confused expression. Cody interrupts. He's been out here since the beginning of time. Or at least that's the story I've heard in the bunkhouse when I've asked. Cody sets the record straight. He didn't like the name of Golden Lake Valley. And I guess he was a little subordinated. He says subordinated. Lesser. Subordinated. They kind of did subordinate him, you know? Sorry, but you need us up here. the only guy out here that, doesn't agree with the naming. I mean, come on. Such a pretty name. Anyway, when do you think he'll change his mind? I don't think he will, Robbie. He's set in his ways and no one has questioned him about it, Katie adds. So Cody chimes in. He has as much place here as anyone. He's made a name for this place. And with that rifle, he sets a man straight, Cody informs. Or a woman? Robbie questions. Katie acknowledges, or a woman. Well, then I don't think I'll be starting anything going through here without ever having said hello, Robbie says. He mentioned the times Delilah, Robbie waves a friendly hello. As soon as she does, old man Clive intervenes. You stay at arm's length, etc. I ain't taking kindly to no fellow. My name's Robbie. We're riding through here to river country. He peers a moment, relaxing to a pleasant glance. So it's, it's sort of character qualities. For us to start noting, old man Clive, he's a big grumpy guy. Or a little grumpy guy. He's more like a little grumpy guy. He's not like the larger guys like Mr. Clemmings or Mr. Berber or Mr. Tyan. But one thing he does is anyone that comes through the pass is an easy sort of notice guy. He'll send a signal. Anyone comes through the pass that he's not liking, he's kind of like a guy who'll take a shotgun rifle and just shoot it into the wall, be okay with it. They'll know by morning, though. But, he's more like a protector. And he just doesn't like the name of the city. And he likes his own space anyway. So he named his, own little piece of property. He's been out there ever since. So anyway, he comes to know of them traveling to river country, which he finds out only through the pass. Anyway, and the bandits that are after Robbie. Anyway, he says, have ya? Well, man Clive comes around with a wrinkled lip. Well then, we have a thing or two in common. Say, take this with you. It may do you some good. Well, man Clive passes Robbie in the grip of a Colt 45. So anyway, that's my best piece. When you're on your way back, you can drop this by. Say, was it Robbie? Yeah, sure is, and thanks, Mr. Clive. It'll surely be useful should they come looking. He says, you're right quickly here. Don't stop for any sightseeing either. So it goes further into the pass, and the pass is a little rough. And beyond the pass is a little more rough near the crag top. Or a little sort of dip in the crag. Get to the crag, and that's where the bandits hang out. But anyway, they don't notice them come through here. Doing some sort of precinct, I think. No, it was. They went to an Arroyo area, so I kind of wanted to draw up a map for this too. So anyway, another one of the quotes that I liked is probably this one. Of course not. I don't know why it's so important. I would be available for every Tom, Dick, and Harry that is my age. That's kidding. Well, honey, you've got me, and I don't think Ma's gonna let him. No, wait a minute. What is this, Robbie? No competition. I hope. Of course not. I don't know why it's so important. I'd be available for every Tom, Dick, and Harry that's my age. Well, honey, you got me, and I don't think Ma's going to let me see the hindquarters in the marriage season. If you know what I mean. So who the heck is that? Robbie Gillespie is surely interested in me for courting one of their sons. They have so many lost count. They're no competition, I hope. Of course not. I don't know why it's so important to be available for every Tom, Dick, and Harry that's my age. Well, honey, you got me in. I don't think your ma's gonna let me see the hindquarters of the new marriage season, if you know what I mean.
Transfer point for route
13, 14, 15, 21, 27, 200. Dinner type stuff. There's a few sort of references and mentions, I guess, to a lot of the standard and sort of expectations of Western culture. And you go Western, not Wild West, but expansion, cultivation, expand and cultivate type stuff. That's homesteading. So anyway. Plot line. I know there's some inconsistencies here. There has to be. So, Katie, I'm no farmer. You're pretty good with Delilah. I don't know a thing about ranching. And it's a cockeyed grin. They have none of that remaining, so I think reality-based understanding is not so much as common, I guess, as it used to be. So his lip is a thin, wiry silver mustache, clothed in plaid and swell suit. Coordinated suits with stained pine shells, desks, and seating arrangements within the library is Mr. Mr. Stanley. This day he's fashioned with tan brown plaid swill and cotton. Anyway, he says hello there. Hello, Mr. Stanley, this is Robbie. Just staying at our place, Kitty adds. My name's Roberta, this is much sooner. Roberta Caruso, daughter of Benjamin, River Country. I say daughter of Benjamin in River Country. country. That'd be kind of neat, right? His first name. Hello, Roberta. So my father would like for her to sit on the studies, Katie informs. He said he'll send in some extra funds for the father. Robbie unrolls a handful of bills and passes them to Mr. Stanley. Well, of late autumn repairs of mine. You should consider your friend Cody for this matter. Hands are like ice out there mending the fences during that time of season. Or something like that. Addition outdoors, etc. And then Jack. So this is the one that I started to draw the little storyboard. Jack again near the trough. Let's see. Jack again near the trough, poking about a fine stallion peeks around the horse's rump to catch an eyeful of Robbie exiting the library. And that's when that conflict starts. So one is that Robbie knows he's a lump, right? Or sort of lazy. Not a lot though, and he's got many things to change so that laziness doesn't exist. And you go, wait a second. Something like laziness, there's a one indication of laziness. It wouldn't be to the detail, but if you go to one indication of laziness, it's adding to your day. So if you have a normal routine, it'd be something like, I notice in this time I have an approximation of like 20 minutes that is not necessary for doing anything. If I figure something else I like doing in this 20 minutes, it's decreasing the sort of laziness meter of life. If that makes any sense. I'm lazy. Lifting, labor, and all that crap. Forget that. But anyway, it's something like that, you know, where you have an entire full schedule routine, and then, you know, indication, and Robbie shouts, Annie, and she's Tread. Who the hell's Tread? I only know that. Anyway, so it's kind of like that, where the characters, when I first started writing, didn't have many direct references or interrelations. Does that make any sense? I didn't have as many direct sort of understandings to behavior. Indirects, nor the ability to cluster very easily in cognitive thinking. Does that make sense? Memory relations, where they sort of come into a meeting point and understand that they're interrelated with several other categories, I guess, of thought and understanding, research, etc. So, let's see. Other writings here. I don't know why I have this highlighted. Robbie thought it'd be easy bringing the filly from... Robbie thought it'd be easy. Bringing the filly from the third stall from the west entrance on the north side of the stable to the northern pasture was a chore. Yet it was also a fuss. The filly was as new to strap and saddle as a colt learning to be comforted by a bridle. I remember YouTube. And some of the parts. But anyway, the chaotic and bumpy ride was just as tiresome. Arriving from the training corral, Robbie's face was dusty, no so amusing to Katie and Mrs. Cleans. Mr. Cleans said to get the hog on the burner, send some out to the boys. They're in need of a good meal tonight, Robbie musters. Another round of laughs. I'll stop it, it's really not that bad, Robbie dejects. Come on, let's go get cleaned up. Katie takes Robbie's hand. So, you know, it's kind of, I want to rewrite this too. This is kind of boring. My thoughts on development, okay?
Next stop,
it's not solely these.
And Tyler. Transfer
so when it gets to that point, they're not sort of... Would I do that, though, in development? I think I would. Sort of link these steps before the first encounter developments, and then later with Frisk and Tread, something more like... Not passionate, but something more like, you know, desirable.
Electronic devices must be silent.
Desire-laden. Does that make any sense? Not passionate. It's not a great word to describe that. It's more like desire-laden. So take all the erotica type elements of writing category, what do you call this? Requirements.
Electronic
like the factors of writing erotica. And you put that into adult type relation. So you have the young adults who are sort of coming of age, coming into their own, and then you have these other two adults who are very experienced with themselves. If that makes any sense. But they also see differences that could be, you know, maybe, and that's mainly Frisk. So I think that would be neat. And so you could use, you know, like the coming of age stuff, and then an entire separate chapter in the same sort of style for Frisk and Tread, which would be completely different than the experiences of Robbie and Katie. So these are less descriptive.
Loud music and profanity are not permitted on the bus.
say concentration about her eyes right across the stadium. Then there's a few sort of, and you know it's generalization, more cues and prompts than anything else. It's more slow. Does that make any sense? It's not as like, oh god, oh god. Anyway, but thoughts on development. I think that would make more sense to me, you know? When you're older, it's all about sense, and that's about it. So even to erotica, like, not so much thought, but the actual sort of elaboration of these types of notes. So you do have some of it, like here, intense concentration, rubbing across the Katie, and then there's moment sensation, which is new. It's less developed, I guess, in later life experiences. So you could have something that's very essential to Frisk and Tread be all of these, as opposed to a few of the generalizations for Katie and Robbie, which is somewhat consistent with development in life. But they're married, or they form a very, how do you say this, interrelated understanding. This was indicative, but then it goes all sensory, so I'm not completely sure. Additions here, I think. So she kind of gets her attention, but at the same time doesn't completely, leave her own.
Stand by.
So I think that's going to be here, this addition. I think that's all I have for today, so I'm going to end on that note, and I'm going to think about this for a few, because there's several words indicative of these, and maybe some more research that I need to do on this. But anyway, that's those two, and that's all I got for today. It's sort of random, not very linear, but as I'm going through the story, maybe next it'll be something like a plot line, because I need to sort of bring notes back into the plot line too, and not forget exactly what the outline was, what my intention was, or the story told lose its ability to be completed.